Welcome. You have reached review time with Imperial, and today's review will be MoonKnight series on Disney Plus Marvel. Let's get into it. So, subscribe to the channel, like the video. This is a review series for the novice of the comic world, not for the die-hard comic fans. There are far more channels out there that really get into everything about comics, that been following comic books since they were younger, and it's a joy for them to see it play out on movies and series and stuff like this. My channel for review of comics and Marvel movies is for novice or people that's been in tune since we start seeing them popping up in movies. So I don't go back to comics or know when like the ins and outs of characters and their backstories and all that. I'm finding out just like everyone is finding out when I'm watching these movies, and I'm just paying attention more, and I might do a little bit more research to find out more what's going on. So I started to see this series pop up, MoonKnight, and it's the push the agenda of the Marvel series into the Phase 4. And Marvel doesn't disappoint. They have a way to bring characters that you typically wouldn't and pay attention to, and then you start watching the series, and then you get intrigued. So this is should be interesting enough to find out. So it's about a former U.S. Marine struggling with dissociative identity disorder. Is granted the powers of an Egyptian moon god, but he soon finds out that these newfound powers can be both a blessing and a curse in his troubled life. So that's just the overall who MoonKnight is. But in the first episode, you get a chance to not really know much. We're going to discover this as the episodes go along. The stars of this series will be Oscar Isaac. He will be the main character. Then you got Ethan Hawke. He looks like he's going to be the villain. Then you got May Calamahi. So the movie starts off with a man crushing glass in a cloth, which is Ethan Hawke's character. He's crushing a glass in a cloth, takes that same glass and places it in his shoes, and then walks out to the public in these shoes. So this man's name is Arthur Harrow, played by Ethan Hawke. And then you go to Stephen Grant, who's the main character, who wakes up chained in a bed. So he kind of I guess at this point in which we see him, he recognizes something in him. So he puts a tape on his door to see if the tape was removed. He has this fish that's in his fish tank. And so this episode is called the goldfish problem. So what happens is he becomes other characters. So this is kind of like for the novice, those of us who know about Venom, how it was a parasite, and you got the Venom symbiote inside of Venom constantly that's constantly talking to him the whole time. So he's constantly hearing voices in his head, but it's multiple voices. So we're gonna find out who these different characters are over time. So, like I said, he works at a museum and he got a dead end job. But the other character that's in him becomes something else. So his front is this, like, quote unquote dorky dude at the museum who got a dead end job that really don't got much of a life, and he got a boss that pretty much belittles him, doesn't see what other people see in him. However, when he becomes that other being, he's stepping out at night. He's doing all types of adventure stuff that the regular character, Stephen Grant, never remembers where he was, what he was doing, what he was part of. So one of the nights he go to bed, he ends up in a whole nother place with his jaw pretty much cracked. And he's instantly in the middle of he did something. Well, his character went and did something that's inside of him and got this gold beetle. And they're shooting at him. He's running. He runs into town. And here in the town is where he runs into Ethan Hawke's character, Arthur. And Arthur basically is some type of being himself. And so he has these balance beams on his arm. And if he holds people, if they're not holy, he pretty much, his inner self sucks the life form out of him. And so at this moment, they go to Arthur, tell him that they had a problem. Somebody basically snatched the beetle, gold beetle, and he told them, did they get him? He pretty much said he's on the loose. So he made a message. He said some type of word. So all the townspeople knew when he said that word, they all supposed to kneel. And of course, Stephen didn't kneel because, of course, he didn't know that. And he pretty much told him, come out, and told him, give him the gold beetle. He went to give it to him, but the inner voice is talking to him like, we're not going to give him this beetle. So he went to give it to him, but then the inner body made him close his hand. And so they pretty much, the goons carried him off, but then it flashed. And before he know it, all the goons was dead. So his inner whatever came out and killed the people. So you go on this whole, he jumps in a van, drives off, and the inner being inside of him, the MoonKnight that's inside of him, comes out and does all these theatrics to kill the goons and stuff like that. So you don't really see the MoonKnight at this moment. So he makes it back. He misses his date with the girl he's interested in. Then he's at the museum, and Arthur shows up at the museum, pretty much found him. And so Arthur held him pretty much to see if he had wrong done to him, it would suck the life force out of him. But it didn't. So he basically said, you got something else in you. And he told his people to let him go. So as Stephen is in the museum that night, he gets chased by this this hound, whatever it is. And on his way to work, he was seeing images of the MoonKnight while he was driving. While he was going to work on the bus and stuff like that. Finally, this dog thing is chasing him throughout the museum. He finally gets in a room, and the other person, not the knight, it's the person that he basically becomes when he's out in the town dealing with women, living a life. That person comes out and pretty much say, hey, I think that person's name is Marcus or something like that. He pretty much say, hey, you need to let me take over or we're going to be dead. And he wasn't listening to him at first, but eventually he let the other being take over and basically the other being became um MoonKnight. And MoonKnight, when the screen goes off and comes back, the little dog thing that was chasing him, MoonKnight takes over, pretty much beats him down and kill him. And then the MoonKnight looks up, and that's how it goes off. So that was the end of the first episode. So it seems interesting enough to follow. I'm pretty sure if people that really know the whole comic book series and everything, they're probably thrilled to even see this come out on for a series that Marvel's doing this series. For us casuals and novice, we just going along for the ride. We really just tuning in, and it's all gonna be new to us while as we watch this. You know, of course, we can all dig a little deep. Eventually, I probably will dig a little deeper and find out the backstory, look at some stuff online if it become interesting enough. But right now, just going along with the ride. I'll be here to review every episode for the novice of the comic world that really ain't trying to dig too deep. We do follow the Marvel series enough where we paying attention. So subscribe to the channel, like the video. Till next time.